707 horsepower, this Hellcat-powered Challenger SRT isn't the most powerful production V8 on the road. It's close though, 20 horses off the McLaren P1 before you add the electric motors. But with a starting price of $60,000, this Challenger represents the least expensive collection of horses you'll find anywhere. Now, when you have a claimed 707 horsepower, how can you start anywhere else than what's underneath this aluminum hood? There it is, the Hellcat V8. Now, when you have 707 horsepower as a goal, where do you start? What do you do? Well, if you're Dodge, in this case, you take your existing 6.4 liter engine and basically replace 90% of it. You de-stroke the bottom end, you put in a beefier crank. It's forged, as are the connecting rods and the pistons. You add oil cooling squirters on each piston as well, so they can withstand all the pressures and heats that this thing's gonna create. Now, on top of the aluminum heads, you add this 2.4 liter blower. It's supplied from IHI, it's a twin screw type. It generates 11.6 PSI at max boost. It takes 80 horsepower just to run the thing. Now for cooling, 700 horsepower is gonna make a ton of heat. So you need a cooling system robust enough to match that. Now there's all kinds of heat exchangers and charge coolers in the supercharger, heat exchangers throughout the engine, and Dodge says it's robust enough to keep this thing working at 100-degree temps. We're of course gonna test that. Now that we've talked about everything that makes the engine so crazy and awesome, we also have to consider everything downstream from that horsepower and torque. There are other important things about a car, like turning and stopping. So to that end, we come to the tire, wheel, and suspension, and brakes too. We have 20-inch diameter, 9.5-inch wide wheels at all four corners, and here they're wrapped with Pirelli P0 summer tires, 275/40, also at four corners. The standard tire is an all-season, which is pretty crazy. Now brakes, this is another first for Dodge in terms of size. They're all supplied by Brembo. They're slotted and vented. The front rotors are 15.4 inches in diameter, and they have 6 piston calipers. At the rear, they're 13.8 inches with 4 piston calipers. Now, going further back, right here is going to be the flaps that open and shut the exhaust to make it nice and loud whenever you get into the throttle. We also have the completely new rear axle and limited slip, and this is going to be across all Challengers. You need this kind of durability to withstand the drag launches and abuse that this car, let's face it, you're going to make it go through. Now, when Dodge was building the Hellcat, they actually had to make completely new dyno rooms because their existing stuff couldn't handle all the power and torque. Now, with that in mind, I think it's time we find out how much power this puts to the rear tires. The Hellcat proved remarkably consistent on UTI's dyno. Over 4 runs, it drew beautifully shaped power and torque curves, varying in peak horsepower by 6 and torque by only 2 pound-feet, while at peak figures of 669 horsepower and 606 pound-feet are amazing. It's the engine's rapid response and constant delivery that make it feel so immensely powerful. While the Challenger has launch control, we got the best acceleration without it. The trick was launching it in second gear and then shifting over to automatic once it hooked up. Dodge claims an 11.2 second ET using a prepped surface for launching. We didn't launch on a prepped surface. One thing that I haven't been able to do much on the road yet is this. That's really fast. Third gear, roll on. It sounds so good.